Hey guys, Coach Seán here, and welcome to the second episode of the Coach Seán Fitness Podcast. Well, kind of the first because the first episode was just an intro into what we're going to do, and yep, that is my intro so far. No bells and whistles just yet in this podcast, but I'm sure it's coming over the next couple of weeks. I just wanted to get straight into doing a podcast. It's something I've been thinking about for quite a while, and to be honest with you, I'm on holidays a couple of weeks, so I was like, trying to put it off and put it off. I'm like, nope, I'm doing this podcast, and I am doing it right now. And speaking of putting stuff off, a lot of us have probably been going to the gym and getting back onto our workout routine and getting back on track, putting that off throughout the summer. But judging by the way the traffic was this morning, schools are indeed back, so people are starting to slowly get back into a routine as the winter months start rolling along. So this episode is going to deal with 10 bits of advice to try and get back on track, 10 things to look at. I could probably delve a lot deeper into each one of the 10 topics, but I'm just going to give a broad overview of these 10 topics, give you a couple of things to think about as you start to build up your own workout routine, and just a couple of different bits of advice to go into. So the first one, which I probably could talk about all day long, is diet. There's no point in giving you 10 bits of advice without mentioning the diet, because you pretty much can't out-train a bad diet. So with your diet, there's so many different things out there you can do. You know, low carb, low fat, carnivore, vegan, Beyonce diet where you eat nothing seemingly. I didn't watch a Netflix show, I just heard people rant and rave about it. But my point is, there's so many different things you can do, but at the end of the day, what counts is calories in versus calories out. Myself, when I'm getting back on track and I want to lose an extra few pounds, for example, I've got a holiday coming up in a week or so. So basically, for the last 4 weeks, I've been going low carb. I find it's easier to go low carb because when you take carbs off the plate, you're taking a lot of calories off the plate, and I find it's easier for me to have more meat and veg on my plate, and I'm satisfied eating that, and I can create meals where I enjoy those meals. And even when I go back to having carbs, there will be some meals where I just have meat and veg and I don't even think about it. But it's sustainable for me long term, and every time around this time every year I do this diet, just as a kickstart. It's more a mental challenge than it's physical at this stage. But when I do it, it gets easier each year because I'm used to doing that. So therefore, I know it's working for long-term sustainability, and I enjoy doing it. Now, that mightn't work for you guys. I'm not the type that's going to preach low carb as if it's this magic pill, as if it's the only way to lose weight. I think it's great, but I've seen people do low fat diets and it's worked just as well from there. But I do know at the end of the day, whether it's low carb or low fat, it does depend on calories in and calories out. And as I mentioned in the first episode, I'm not too keen on counting calories because I think a lot can affect that. Like just having to constantly think of how many calories specifically are in each and every meal and writing them down, and even the apps aren't always precise in that, so you can be off by 300 or 400 calories, and if you think you're 300 calories under and you're actually bang on your calorie intake for the day and you have an extra meal, you're going to be over the amount of calories, and it's just hard. And then you're just like, why I'm not losing weight? It's because you're consuming too much calories and you're constantly thinking about it every meal. Whereas when I'm on low carb, for example, I don't think about the calories. I'm just, this meal satisfies me. I know it's going to be less calories than what I've had before because the potatoes and stuff are taken off the plate. So it has to be lower consumption before. And as well as that, I'm probably training a little bit more throughout those 3 to 4 weeks so I'm on it, because I'm in that mindset of, if I'm going to suffer a little bit by having no carbs at all, I'm not low carbs at all, but very little carbs compared to what I normally have. If I'm going to suffer through that, well, I'm definitely going to work hard in the gym to make this worthwhile. So basic advice though for now, if you don't really want to do a diet, is I would recommend sticking to 3 meals a day. They say, some people used to say, 6 meals, keep metabolism burning, eating every 2 to 3 hours. I just don't think that's realistic. One, I think the body's smarter than, if you're not eating for 2 to 3 hours, it's just going to shut down. I don't think that happens. Two, if it's just very hard to eat every 2-3 hours. I think most of us, if you're going to work doing a 9 to 5, you might be leaving the house at 8 o'clock. It might be 1 o'clock again by the time you get a bit of lunch. And next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock by the time you're home. There's a pretty big substantial gap where you're only getting one meal in between there. So it's very hard to get 5 to 6 meals a day. So get 3 big meals in. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Not really too sure on that. It depends on you and your lifestyle. As long as you're getting three good meals in each day, that's what I'd work with from there. If you can slowly reduce the amount you eat compared to normal, well, then you're going to lower calories, and that's going to work towards your overall goal. If your overall goal is losing weight, which is what we're tackling in this episode. So I could probably talk a lot more about diet, a lot more throughout, but I'm going to save that for another podcast episode. So that's pretty much my advice on diet. The second thing, which may seem super obvious, but you can't mention one without the other in my mind, and that is exercise. It goes hand in hand, diet and exercise for fat loss. Yes, you can do just one, and yes, you can just do the other, one or the other, and still get results. But if you do just a diet, you're going to lose a fair bit of weight, but you're not going to look as good. And if you do the exercise, you're not really showing your full potential because you're not doing diet, because you can't out-train a bad diet. So when it comes to exercise, and I hear this a lot, it drives me up the wall, especially when people want to lose weight. They're like, I need to lose more weight. I'm going to do cardio. I'm like, sorry, what? And they're like, you're training 3 or 4 times in the gym. You only started doing your gym training, and you're like, I need to do running. It's like, a lot of us have this notion that to lose weight, you need to run. And there's nothing wrong with running. I run myself. I enjoy running. Can't believe I said that out loud. But I do enjoy running, and that's only a recent thing. But you don't have to just do running to lose weight. You lose more in the time you do running. So let's say if you ran for an hour and you did resistance training in the gym for an hour, in that hour, you would probably burn more calories running. That is true. Maybe. Depends on how hard you work in the gym and how hard you do running. But for most people, they probably burn more running. But once you stop running, that's it. With resistance training, you have to recover a lot more, especially if you're working on the principle of overload, which means you're challenging yourself each and every week to do an extra couple of reps, go a little bit heavier on the weights. And that's what I was saying in the first episode, when people on social media are putting up random exercise each and every day. It's great, you're doing something, but if you don't, it's just random workouts. If you don't have something to aim for each and every workout, you're not getting as much as you can out of it. You should always have little goals to keep yourself going long term. So I'd rather you had a set program for at least 3 to 4 weeks, and you're able to build on it, and then start doing different exercises, because that way at least you can see your progress, and that's going to keep you going back. Where let's say if something as simple as push-ups, you're able to get 12 push-ups in a row. The next gym session, I'm trying to get 14 push-ups in a row, rather than I'm going to do some random TRX chest press. Yeah, you're working the same muscles, but you don't know if you're really progressing or not. So that's, as well as you can obviously do running to lose weight. There's nothing wrong with that. I would just combine it with strength training. I think if you can do a balance of both, it's going to help your results a lot better. Doing a small bit of HIIT training as well. HIIT training is high intensity interval training. So basically something that's going to really work up a sweat for 3 to 4 minutes, getting your heart rate up. And I'm not talking about, just jumping jacks or high knees. So that's something you're going to have to burst all out, go all out for 10-20 seconds. Like, for example, sprints. Something as simple as sprints. If you can sprint as hard as you can for 20 seconds, you're going to need a long rest before you can go again. Even 20 seconds is an awful long time to sprint. If you look at Olympic sprinters and they're going for 10 seconds, unless they're Usain Bolt, they're all dead dog tired at the end of it. They're trying to catch their breath. But if you do exercise like that, where you're going as hard as you can for 10-15 seconds, getting a rest for a minute, doing 6 to 8 rounds of that alone is a great little workout that you can get in 10-15 minutes. So excuses of you've got no time to train, right out the window. If you've only got 20 minutes, do HIIT training. Work hard, get long breaks, work hard, long breaks, and go from there. And when you're in the gym, If you're confusing exercise, do exercises that involve as many joints you can. They're called compound exercises. So your different kind of squats and stuff where you're moving different joints, like your knee and hip moves at the same time, rather than just doing a single joint exercise like a bicep curl. So your different presses, your different squats, your different rows, throwing all them in together and just challenge yourself. Do similar exercises for 3 to 4 weeks and aim to improve on those exercises, whether it's the weight or the reps over those 3 to 4 weeks. As long as your form is right, form and safety are number one important. After that, work on your reps. Don't do sloppy leaning right back reps and all this sort of stuff. Get your form right first, do it safe, and then aim to progress from there. And when it comes to gym programming, really quick before we move on to point number 3, I promise these other 8 points will be a lot quicker than the first 2, but the first 2 are so important. When you're in the gym and you're doing your compound exercises, there's different movements I like to do. So do some form of squat. If you're doing a full body workout, and you could go in the gym for 40 minutes and do 3 full body workouts, and that's it. You're pretty much done there. Maybe throw in 1 or 2 runs or 1 or 2 HIIT sessions, and you are right back. If you can do that, you're going to see results, especially if your diet goes hand in hand with it. Guaranteed results without question. If you can do some form of squat, so a goblet squat, for example, holding a kettlebell, squatting down, right back up, and then obviously, like I said earlier, try and get more reps in there or add a bit more weight as the weeks progress. If you do some sort of hinge movement, which is working the back of the legs, so if you look at a kettlebell swing, when done right, with a slight bend in the knees, don't squat the kettlebell, or some sort of some sort of hip thrust, something that works the back of the legs, that push your hips forward and back. That kind of action, that's called a hinge motion. So if you can work on that. So squat, hinge motion, some sort of push, very simply a push-up, some sort of pull movement, so like a dumbbell one-arm row, a TRX row, anything that has row in it, pretty much. Try and do a little bit more pull than push, because none of us work our back as much our pushing movements, and that causes round shoulders. So get a little bit more pull exercises in there. And yeah, if you can have those 4 in there, you could throw other things like some sort of lunge, and I love doing farmer walks as well. So they're great as well to throw in. But if you have a squat, a hinge, a push and pull, you could balance them out to get 4 exercises after a thorough warm up. You are good to go from there. So number 3, and we're gonna fly through these next 8 things because we covered a lot in exercise and diets. Number 3 is reduce your stress. That's very easy to say. I can't just say reduce stress and it's going to happen. But stress can play a huge part in you not losing weight. Your body's just going to produce a lot more cortisol. It's going to help. It's going to reduce your chances of dropping your body fat. There's a lot of different things going on. So you got to find a way to reduce your stress. And one of the ways to do that is walking, low intensity, steady state training, which is called LISS. So basically 15-20 minutes going out for a walk, just out in nature, just clearing your head. That is different things like that. If work gets too much, just go for a 15-20 minute walk. That can help a little bit. But I can't really speak too much more than that because we're all individual on our own different stresses and how we handle it. But find a way to reduce your stress. Number 4 is sleep. We get results when we sleep. We recover when we sleep. If we have a hard session in the gym, we don't get results there. We get results afterwards when we recover. And when we recover, we sleep. So you need to sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, you're not going to recover well. And lack of sleep could actually cause you to gain weight as well. So try and get at least 7 hours a night. They say 7 to 9 hours is a sweet spot somewhere in between there. But adequate sleep is going to help promote fat loss. You're going to have to try and get 7 hours of sleep a night. And if you're getting 4, 5, 6 hours, you're not going to be able to put in 100% in the gym. You're going to be overtired. You're not going to be able to think straight. You're going to make poor decisions when it comes to your diet as well. So prioritize your sleep. So much so that if you haven't got a workout in, and it's like 10 o'clock at night, and you're up at 5 in the morning for whatever reason, I would probably recommend going to sleep rather than forcing the workout in there, because you're going to be up for another hour doing it. Then you have to cool down and get your heart rate back down again, have a shower. Next thing you know, you're getting 5.5 hours sleep before the next morning. So I would actually recommend more sleep. That's how important sleep is in my mind. So get more sleep in, try and get 7 hours. And once again, forget about this whole social media hustle crap that you see online that a lot of people just say they're doing, they're not really doing. So I think half of us could clear half our Instagram accounts we follow. We'd probably be better off that way, but that's just a personal opinion on that. Number 5 is to drink more water. So some people are like, how do I drink 3 liters of water a day? Yeah, they could probably have 4 or 5 pints, no bother. But what I like to do is when I get first thing in the morning, I get my first pint out of the way. So I down a pint of water as soon as I get up. Probably the first thing I do. Maybe I'll put on clothes first. I don't know. I'm not really thinking in the morning. But it's automatic at this stage. I go to the tap, fill a pint of water, I down the water. I don't even think about it. It's that routine to me at this stage. It can help kickstart a day. Some people say it can help flush the toxins out. I'm iffy on that, but it gets you in the right. It gets you in the right mindset. It wakes you up. It just subconsciously you're thinking healthy already as soon as you get up. It starts you off pretty much. You get up on the right foot. Starts you off well for the day, and you've got your first pint of water out of the way just like that. Most of the times, without actually even thinking, that first pint is gone. If you want to lose weight, I'd also recommend getting a pint of water in before each and every meal, because when you drink a pint of water, you're a little bit, I wouldn't say you're full already, but it's, you don't have to eat as much food to be satisfied afterward. So if you drink a pint of water in, and in some cases when we're hungry, if you drink a pint of water and wait 10-15 minutes and keep your mind occupied with something else, you'll find you're not actually that hungry, so you don't need to snack. Obviously get a treat. I'm not saying skip meals. Get your 3 meals in a day, but if you feel like snacking, pint of water, wait 10-15 minutes, do something else. If you're still hungry, by all means eat. If not, you might forget about it, and then that's less calories. It's going to help you throughout the rest of the day from there. So try to get at least 2 to 3 liters of water in a day. If you are training a lot more, you may need a little bit more water than that. They do say to have at least 1 liter of water for every 25 kilo body weight you are, not body fat. Jeez, that's a lot of body fat. 1 liter of water for every 25 kg body weight. So for myself, I need at least 3 liters of water a day. I have one of those big water jugs. When I'm training, I usually have one of them during my sessions. That's 2 liters right there. My pint when I wake up, I'm at 3 liters already before I have water with my meals down throughout the day. Number 6 is use cheat meals when necessary. Enjoy your food, don't demonize it. So there are some, we know there's bad, I don't like saying good and bad foods. There's some foods that just have no nutritional value in them, that, different kind of sweets and crisps and stuff like that. They just have there's no benefit out of having them. Like sugar is in a lot of things. For example, fruit. If we have fruit, there's fructose in it, and some people say don't have fruit because it has sugars. But it also has a ton of other vitamins and minerals as well. So fruit is good for you. Have your fruit. Whereas other things that has just sugar in it, if you put 3-4 scoops of sugar into your cup of coffee or cup of tea or whatever, that's obviously not good for you. So I almost lost my point in that one there, to be totally honest. And that's going to happen in these podcasts where I'm ranting on one thing, I forget exactly where I'm coming from. But my point is, don't demonize food. Pizzas aren't bad if you have them once every while. If you have a pizza every single day of the week, you're probably going to put on weight because there's a lot of calories in a pizza. But having a pizza once, even twice a week is not necessarily a bad thing, unless you're a competitive bodybuilder and you're trying to get your body fat down to 4 or 5%. You probably won't get away with a pizza. But for the rest of us, if we're on track, we're on track 80% of the time. If every 5 or 6 meals is healthy, that's okay. 4 or 5 is 80%. But let's say in a 2-day period we have one bad meal and the rest of them are spot on. We will probably, over the course of a week, it'll probably balance out that if it's 80% of the time we're doing well, it will balance out that we'll have our calories in order and we will be able to achieve our goals. Will it be as perfect as clean eating 100% of the time? No, but you're living your life. These things happen. Life gets in the way. Enjoy the meal. Don't think about it. Get right back on track with the next meal. having a healthier meal, and move on from there. So don't demonize your food. And don't go overboard in a cheat meal, actually, before I move on. Just because if you're having a cheat meal, if you're going out for dinner, enjoy it. But that doesn't mean you have to have, 3, 4, 5 different sides with it and start loading up on the calories because it's your cheat meal. Just, you don't have to necessarily eat like a pig for your cheat meal, unless you're huge, like The Rock and Abraham with pancakes that are like 3 feet high, because he obviously works that off. And the most of us are human, unfortunately, so we can't work off nor eat that amount of food anyway. So don't try. And I also find that if you really overeat in a cheat meal, you go too over the top with it, and you have like 2 pizzas and all the rest and stupid things like that, I find that you start craving that more the next day, and you have a bad meal the next morning because you had those sugar cravings, and you're like, yeah, I'll have a breakfast roll on the way into work or whatever, and then that just has that domino effect from there. So enjoy your cheat meal, but just don't go over the top with it. Number 7 is preparation. We've all heard the saying about failing to prepare to fail, and all the rest, but if you're trying to get back on track, there is a lifestyle change right there. So you need to figure out exactly when you're going to have your meals the next day, what those meals are, to make the process easier so you don't have to think about it too much. If you're lowering your calories and you're starting to think, what am I having here, what am I having there, as the day progresses, you're bound to make bad decisions. As the week starts to roll on, next thing you know, you're getting up late, your clothes aren't prepared, you're rushing through, you're on the way to work, you're starving, you pull over the garage, you see a special on sausage rolls because you're avoiding breakfast rolls, you know they're bad for you, not bad for you, but too many calories again, and you're like, what's the deal on sausage rolls? And it's like, I don't know what the deals are these days, well, the 27 for €5, you're like, yeah, it's better than 1 for €3, so you end up getting all those, and your calories start going up again. But if you prepare, you know what you're having for breakfast, that's all laid out. You have your gym bag organized, you know what your gym clothes are. Just little mundane things like that where you don't have to think too much. You just know what the next step is, and you just get a process going, you get a routine going. That's going to make your life a lot easier. And over the next couple of weeks, they say it takes anywhere between 21 to 56 days to build a habit. So keep it going, keep preparing the night before. Take the 5-10 minutes. Prepare, have your clothes laid out. If you train first thing in the morning, have your gym clothes laid out, have your gym bag packed before you head off, have your work clothes laid out, and just get that routine going. Number 8 is that we see low-fat foods, gluten-free foods. If you have a gluten intolerance, obviously these foods are good for you because of gluten. But so you can just skip the steps. That's pretty much. But otherwise, we can have a tendency to see those foods and think they're healthier. What happens sometimes is they obviously have to take the gluten out, and stuff they put in can increase the calories. So we think we are having a more healthier option because it's gluten free or because it's low fat, and that's not always the case. So be careful of that. Have a look at the labels between the low fat and the regular options of what you're having, and make a decision from there. Start with the calories, look at the calories of both. Sometimes the low fat option, the gluten free options, especially when you have like muffins, to think that they are going to have a higher amount of calories, which is going to lessen your chance of achieving your goals. Number 9 is don't be so hard on yourself, especially when you're starting a routine. There are going to be little pitfalls here and there where you miss a workout. Something came up and you have to go out and you have to eat a little bit more than you're expected to eat that day, or you have a bad meal, you come home late at night and you're really hungry, and the other half brings home a chipper and you end up having some of that. Don't be hard on yourself. It happens. One bad meal or one missed workout is not going to ruin your entire progress. Just like one good meal and one good workout is not going to make everything great all of a sudden and you've already achieved your goal that fast. It doesn't happen that way. I would say it's like a marathon. No, marathons are painful. It's not like a marathon at all. But it's a long-term process. One bad meal is not going to ruin that process. Just, it happened. Forget about it. Move on. Number 10, speaking of the process, is set goals and plan. Pretty much tying everything in together we said in these first 9 points. Your goal is to lose weight. How? What are you doing? What is the plan for your nutrition? What is the plan in the gym? What's the process? When you are in the gym, like we talked about earlier with the push-ups goal, maybe you have a push-ups goal. So you want to do 12 push-ups one day, you achieve that, the next day you want to do 14. And doing all these little goals each week in the gym keeps you motivated going back to the gym while building towards the long-term goal, which could be losing X amount of pounds. So don't just have one long-term goal and leave it there. Have shorter-term goals, especially in the gym, have short-term goals. Everything should be working towards that principle of overload, getting a few more reps in on certain exercises, getting a little bit more weight. And you're not going to be able to do it each and every session. There's going to be some sessions where you're just not going to be able to lift any more than you did the previous session, because otherwise, if you added 5 pounds, for example, to a bench press and you did that each and every week, there comes a stage where you're going to be lifting just as much as I don't know who's the strongest person in the world today, but that it just doesn't, it's not as linear as that. And the same thing with losing weight. If you lose 3 pounds one week, you can do the exact same thing again, but you're not going to lose exactly 3 pounds next week. You might lose 4 pounds, you might go up 1 pound. It just zigzags up and down. So keep that in mind. You're working towards the long-term goal, building towards that, setting short goals in between, but build towards the long-term goal. And we're pretty much just past the 25-minute mark there. So I'm going to wrap up this podcast. Hopefully you got a couple of tips, bits of advice on that. I'm going to have a couple of different links in the show notes. For example, if I figure out how to do that, but I'm going to have a couple of links in the description on different blogs where I got some of my information from. For example, the gluten-free one and the muffins, where some things are added onto the items that are gluten-free that increase the calories that make it not as healthy as the gluten muffin option, I suppose. So that, and once again, that's not saying that gluten-free foods are bad. Some are more calories than you expect from the other type. That's all I'm saying on that one. So I'll try and have as much information in the show notes as I can to pretty much back up all my waffle I'm doing right now. And from there, I'm going to end this show. Thanks for listening. Tell a mate about it, and hopefully you get subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, tell other people about it, and hopefully keep building this podcast each and every Wednesday. In the meantime, you can find me speaking. I'm after bashing social media a couple of times throughout this podcast, and I'm about to plug my own social media right now. But if you're on Facebook, you want to get more from me, go to facebook.com/Coach Seán. I'm on Instagram as well at Coach_Seán C. And you're about to find a pattern here in that I could have kept it simple, had a lot of one thing, but I didn't. I'm a guy, guys are dumb. On Twitter, I wouldn't really follow me on Twitter if you're looking for fitness advice only. I do throw a lot of stuff up there, but a lot of it is more like about these guys playing and Villa playing and stuff like that. But if you're interested in my other stuff I do as well, I'm on Twitter at Coach_Seán_C. There's no follows in all them, but I'm on YouTube where there is a fodder over the A. That's youtube.com/Coach Seán, all one word, and that fodder over the A. I'm going to leave the podcast right here. Thanks to you for listening to this episode, and hear from you guys. See you. No, won't see you guys next week. And you'll hear from me next week. Next Wednesday, episode number 3 from Coach Seán. Take care. Now that wasn't a hard video to get through now, was it? I hope you guys got some value out of the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the Coach Seán channel, which is somewhere here. And hit that button, subscribe to the Coach Seán channel, leave a thumbs up. There should be a couple of other videos around here for you guys to check out. And that's all from me, from Coach Seán. Take care.